Hey everyone, welcome to the results video of the 30-second round of my multiplayer server. It's nice to see a filled map like this again. So yeah, we had 16 players in this round. Of those 16, eventually 14 actually went on to be rated in the voting poll. 2 were just 2 unfinished to be rated on. But the other 14 all got a rating. I will just start with the plot that got 14th place, and then I will go through all of them until finally we reach the one that got first place. Also, the theme of this round was oil spill. Well, it was really up to the players how they interpreted this oil spill. I actually used the palette that Skiva made for one of his contest rounds. So basically it turns all the water black to look like oil. And of course also in the ride selection and scenery there were lots of mechanical stuff and also corrugated walls like this, so you can make industry stuff. Anyway, let's start with the one that got 14th place. Alright, in 14th place we have this plot made by Timidator. Well, in these small plots, it's usually not a good idea to make a wooden roller coaster, mostly because they will have these supports, these wooden supports all under them, and it will always make them look massive. It's much better to go for a sleek steel roller coaster in small plots like these. But yeah, other than that, yeah, all the scenery here on this plot is all a bit basic. Yeah, just some paths here. It could have just used a lot more details and then would have scored a lot better. Alright, in 13th place we have this plot made by Miranda. Well, yeah, obviously the thing with this plot was that it was unfinished, so that actually hurt the score the most. Also, I had to close down the roller coaster because Miranda actually built invisible part of the coaster through the queue path, and it actually trapped thousands of guests in the queue as long as the coaster was opened. So yeah, in order to not let all the guests be stuck here and not be in other parts of the park, I just closed the coaster down. But yeah, this plot had a lot of potential, but sadly it was not finished. There's just these open parts everywhere, and that's what hurt the score. But yeah, it's just full of nice track and texture, so I just wish Miranda would have finished it. And that's also the comments that I saw most in the reviews of this plot. Okay, then we have this plot made by Kwook. At least that's what I think what his name is. I don't know how to pronounce it, so sorry if I butchered it. Well, overall, this plot is nice. What I really like is this vegetation here, the plants here. That's really nice to look at. Also, I really like the support of this coaster here. That looks pretty nice. But other than that, it really just feels a bit like a random collection of buildings and stuff. So yeah, a bit of a coaster here, a bit of a building here. Here's the loop for the coaster. Yeah, guys, whenever you make an inversion, you should really not encase it in supports. That generally doesn't look very good in my opinion. So yeah, all the parts look okay, but altogether, in my opinion, it looks a bit like a random mess of buildings. So that's why this did not score very well. Alright, then we have this plot made by Sheeple. Sheeple made most of this plot in the last day. The round actually got a small extension, so he used that very well. So yeah, he made this industrial section here with the Togo hardline twister coaster. I think it also has a half loop here. That's actually quite nice. There's one real existing hardline twister coaster that actually does that, and it was merged with the bobsleigh coaster. And yeah, these cars actually have sprites for turns, even though they normally don't have turns. So yeah, I really like that combination of track. But yeah, other than that, these are some pipelines with trains under it. Yeah, and some TNT all over the plot. I think the story was something about some guys wanting to blow up this facility. Um, yeah, probably what did hurt the score is that he actually just went for the wooden walls instead of the corrugated walls or industrial walls that were provided. So yeah, that probably would have him score a little bit better. But overall, this looks quite nice. Alright, here we have the entry made by Yaron. This is not bad at all. Of course, Yaron being Yaron, this plot was probably again made in just a few hours. Um, yeah, here's some buildings around the plot with a coaster here in the middle. I actually like the layout of this coaster. So yeah, he combines the spiral lift hill. Actually, this is probably just the spiral roller coaster track, but using the rocket cars instead of the spiral roller coaster cars. So yeah, he used the Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 wall edges to make these buildings. I think generally that's a bad idea. Mostly because for buildings you'll want, for example, it usually looks better if your first floor looks different than the other floors. And when you make buildings using this, yeah, it makes the buildings look quite crude. And some of the other buildings though, like this one for example, I think this looks much better. There's lots more detail and it's just much more interesting to look at than the other buildings here on the plot. So yeah, overall a bit crude, but not bad at all. Alright, then we have this plot made by Didi Rob, or Didi Robbie as he goes now. So yeah, I actually really like this plot. It's just a nice variety of textures. I really like the colors. I love to see this guy, to see Didi Robbie improve while on making these. I really like how he decorated this lift hill. This building looks quite nice. I like these slanted wooden fences. Just too bad he didn't do the same on the other side. But yeah, I like the cacti and some nice paths here. Just really nice choice of colors. So the building for this twist is also really nice. So yeah, I thought this plot would end higher in the score. But still, this is not a bad score at all. And yeah, just keep building like this, Robbie, and I think you'll get really good. Alright, then we have my plot. I actually also built this very quickly. So yeah, I think almost right from the start I already had this lake, so with all the grass around it, and it's gradually becoming more dark as we get more towards the lake. There's actually some barrels here on the bottom of the lake, some junk. And I just made this oil rig here. There's EFD on it, text for environmentally friendly digging or drilling. Yeah, I just tried to squeeze as much as possible into this little section here. So yeah, we actually have a coaster here with the reverse incline launch shuttle hill. So yeah, it gets lifted up here backwards, then it gets released, and then it goes through this complicated layout with two inversions. And then in the end it has this vertical spike up this tower. And actually there's a launch freefall on this tower, but I actually gave it the flying roller coaster, or the laydown roller coaster train. So guests actually it's because I only wanted to have the guests sitting on one side, and it actually works quite well. I just made the launch freefall invisible and just built this what's it called, this inverted shuttle or this inverted impulse coaster beam here, and now it looks like the guests actually travel on this beam. So yeah, I actually really like how it worked out. I made a little bit of a crane here. Just lots of track and texture. I actually reached the limit of 16 rides on my plot, so then I stopped building. Else I would have probably added some attractions around it. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how this worked out in the end, given the little time that I put into it. Alright, here we have the plot made by Red Raider 2022. He made this inverted coaster. It actually looks a lot like the one that Skifa built in one of his contest entries. So yeah, it has some reversing sections and these vertical spikes made with the inverted impulse coaster and colored red and white. Actually, really like the way this looks. There's lots of nice track texture on this and scenery on this plot. What you can see here is actually a mistake that I often see people make. So yeah, you can actually see all these guests here walking around. They're all trying to leave the park, but they cannot find the way out anymore. And that's because of one flaw here. So yeah, you can see the train here, and there's actually a station here, and there's an invisible entrance and exit right here on the path. One thing you should never do is put your entrance and exit on top of path. It really messes up the pathfinding. So if I just remove this entrance and exit using the tile inspector, then guests will be able to walk through here normally again. So yeah, I repeat, never put your entrances and exits on top of a footpath. So if we give them max energy and happiness now, then they should be able to find their way out again. You can see the guests walking out of this area again. So yeah, really be careful with that. Alright, here we have the entry made by What the Hexadecimal. He actually recreated this boat from the company Dockwise. He called this one Black Blood. But yeah, it's a company that makes big boats with which they transport other boats or oil rigs. So yeah, most people actually complimented the design of the boat, but yeah, I saw some comments that people didn't really like the look of the oil rig. So I think the only actually functioning attraction here is this water slide. I think it could have used something like a roller coaster around the boat just to make it look a little bit more interesting. But overall, I really like the look of this boat. This is some great track texture. Also, I really like this helicopter, which he totally did not copy from Mamarias. Alright, here we have the plot made by Jag140. He actually called it the Eternal Engine. This was actually one of my favorite plots of the round. I just love this engine that he recreated using tons of track texture. Also a really cool coaster going around the plot. This plot is just filled to the brim with attractions, cool looking scenery. There's just so much eye for detail here. So yeah, here's actually a really cool looking robot with his arm up in the air, made with these cauldron pieces and pipe pieces. So yeah, I'm actually kind of bummed this entry didn't score higher than it did. But oh well, I'm not the only one who rates these entries. Here's also a cool oil derrick. Wherever you look, there's just so many cool details. I really love the supports here for this coaster. For some reason there's some TNT stacked up next to this building that looks quite dangerous. And here's some black ice. The engine is probably leaking some oil into the ice. And there's also a squid here called Deurklink. I actually didn't notice this one before. But yeah, this was one of my favorite entries, and I hope to see Jag140 join in more of these contests. Amazing entry. Alright, here in 4th place we have this entry made by Henk the Super Nerd. He made this plot themed after the oil crisis of the 1970s. So yeah, you can actually see these cars going around here, but they're actually waiting quite a while here before they can continue. It's called Sorry, No Gas. Let me use cutaway view here, because there's a lot of stuff around it. And that way we get a bit of a better view of the plot. So yeah, also I love these buildings. I love the black and white theme. So yeah, you can see these buildings from the urban theme that he made, but he put black glass around it. I think that's really clever to give this black and white look. I love how he made the smoke on this tower here, using these gumdrops. I think that's really clever. I love this little bridge that's in between these buildings here. So there actually was no road enabled in this workbench, so that's why he used these black and white checkered style pieces to make the stripes between the roads. But yeah, overall this is really nice to look at. I just love the feel of the plot with all the black and white stuff. Great job. Also, I love this entrance that he made. This looks great. Alright, in third place we have this plot made by Mackett. Mackett again insisted on using red sand and the canyon rocks, but it's executed really well. So yeah, really nice wooden buildings once again. Some nice decorations also around these windows. That looks really good. It's a mix of the mine themed walls with some fences, defense gates around it. Yeah, just lots of track texture all around. I really like these track pieces on top of the roof. It looks subtle, but it gives a great look to the roofs. Just great attention to detail everywhere. So yeah, this is a reverse incline launched shuttle coaster. Also, I love this fake track piece here on the end. That's quite neat. Just nice track texture all over the plot. So yeah, it's the mine train track, I think, with the wooden coaster track under it. But yeah, the supports look nice and subtle. Oh, it's actually a full circuit coaster. So yeah, instead of going backwards back to the station, they actually merge again here. Also, this is a really neat trick here. So yeah, the queue paths are used here, but they're connected on 3 sides, and that way only the supports stay visible, and that gives these nice wooden planks here. So yeah, I enabled some custom scenery on this map, and these queue types are used really well here. Alright, in second place we have this plot made by Skifa, and here I'll use the cutaway view for sure, because there's a lot of stuff around it. Let me quickly select the correct area. There we go. So yeah, once again this plot is just filled to the brim with nice stuff to look at. Just ignore these glass sections and this stuff on the edge. That's from the plots next to it. So yeah, there's this really cool coaster going around the plot. He actually used the motorbike cars from the steeplechase, but he made a longer train from it. And there's actually a launch section in this coaster. I just love watching it go around the plot. There's also a really nice go-kart going around the plot, and there's this transport system going into this. I think this is an oil rig. But yeah, there's just so much detail put into this plot. There's just nice stuff to see everywhere. There's nice little buildings everywhere. Everything's just decorated nicely. Oh, I also really love how this photo section is made. That's actually great. Simple, but great. The guests are actually crossing this go-kart track. That doesn't look very safe to me. I like all these advertisement boards that he put right next to the kart track. But yeah, like I said, this is just really cool to look at. Also, for some reason, this oil rig has one of its legs right in a volcano. Yeah, by the way, if you want to download this park, you can look in the archive on my Discord server, and there you can download the maps of all previous multiplayer rounds. So yeah, I have just limited time to discuss this plot in this video, so I recommend you download map and look at it for yourself. You'll probably even discover things that I haven't even seen yet on this plot. So yeah, go give it a look yourself. Alright, and then in first place we have this plot made by Ayrtont. Once again, very track and texture heavy plot from Ayrtont, and damn, it looks amazing. It's just this giant oil rig, and damn, it looks that must have taken quite a while to build. There's just this cool track and texture everywhere. I love how he made these legs of the platform with this monorail track. And then there's this really cool coaster which wraps around the entire oil rig. So it actually has a little launch section here, also decorated with Heartland Twister coaster track. I just love seeing it go around here. But yeah, just awesome details all around. Some pipes here which are actually leaking. And there's also these submarines going around. Also a go-kart track here on the top of the platform using this flying saucer track. Yeah, just many amazing decorations everywhere. I love how he used these candy canes to actually make it look like pipes. Or I think that's probably my favorite part of this plot. Just these subtle tricks everywhere. So yeah, I think once again a great plot made it to the first place. Yeah, and a really well deserved first place. Also again here you see the trick with the queue path, where the queue path itself is actually invisible, but the supports are still shown. Alright, I think this was a really great round. I love seeing all the creations made by everyone. And we'll start a new round soon. So yeah, if you want to join any of these rounds, you'll have to become a member on my Discord server. I left a link in the description. Discord's completely free, by the way, but you'll have to make an account. But then you can join me and a lot of other players in a chat about this game, and yeah, we host several competitions. So yeah, I recommend giving it a go if you're not a member yet. If you stay active on my Discord long enough, you'll become a trusted member, and then you can actually join these contests on my server. Alright, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.